All right, let's dive deep today. We're going to be talking all about Ikigai.
Ikigai.
Yeah, that Japanese concept everyone's talking about. We've got excerpts from the book itself, and
All
it's
right.
more than just feel-good vibes, let me tell you. This book gets into practical steps and
Yeah.
real-life examples of how to live a life with purpose, especially from those Okinawan centenarians who seem to have it all figured out.
It's interesting, isn't it? The whole world seems fascinated by this idea
Oh,
of a reason for being. It really hits a nerve.
it does.
Like we're all searching for that something, you know?
Yeah.
That makes life feel truly worthwhile.
Yeah, totally. But here's what grabbed me. The book doesn't just leave us hanging with vague ideas.
Right.
It dives into the how-to, drawing a lot from Okinawa,
Yeah.
that Japanese island famous for having a ton of people living past 100.
Right. Okinawa is what they call a blue zone. These are places around the world where people consistently live longer and healthier lives. So though studying them is like peeking into the secrets of longevity,
It is.
wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Okay, so let's break down this Ikigai thing.
Okay.
The book translates it roughly as a reason for being. But it's deeper than just like some big overarching purpose, right?
Exactly. It's about finding joy and meaning in your everyday life. It's not about waiting for some huge accomplishment. It's about waking up each day and feeling like what you're doing matters, you know, that
Yeah.
you're engaged in things that make you feel truly alive.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So how do we find our own Ikigai?
Yeah.
The book uses this Venn diagram,
Oh, yeah.
which I found really helpful.
Yes, the Venn diagram. It's a great way to visualize this concept. Picture 4 overlapping circles. They represent what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Where those 4 areas intersect, that's where your Ikigai lies.
It's like finding that sweet spot where your passions and skills and values align with actually making a difference in the world. It's almost a formula for a life well lived.
That's the essence of it. It encourages us to consider how our unique talents and interests can benefit others, leading to a purpose that goes beyond ourselves. Think of those Okinawans. They live long, fulfilling lives. I wonder, is their Ikigai tied to their lifestyle and culture?
You know, that's what I was thinking. Is it their environment, their outlook, or what?
Right.
What are those longevity lessons that set them apart?
The book dives into 10 core principles that shape their way of life, and it's fascinating. It's a blend of practical habits and a mindset that prioritizes community, connection, and a slower pace of life. It's not just what they eat or how much they exercise. It's about their outlook on life itself.
For example,
Take the principle, don't worry. It speaks to their ability to let go of unnecessary stress and embrace a more relaxed approach to life's challenges.
okay, I have to admit, don't worry as a life principle is a little hard to swallow in our world, but I get how letting go of stress could be key to well-being. Do they have any special techniques, or is it just their island vibe?
It's ingrained in their culture. The book highlights how their social structure, community support, and even their spiritual beliefs all contribute to this low-stress mindset. They emphasize connection and celebrate life's simple pleasures.
That's so different from our go, go, go mentality, isn't it? I can see how feeling truly connected to your community would make a difference. What are some of the other Okinawan principles?
Well, there's nurture your friendships every day, which emphasizes their focus on strong social connections. They believe that spending time with loved ones, sharing meals, and supporting each other contributes to their longevity and happiness.
You know, that really resonates with me. Having close relationships definitely makes life richer and helps you through tough times. So besides friendships and not worrying, what else do they focus on?
Cultivate good habits. It's all about consistency and mindful daily practices that support physical and mental well-being. Then there's live an unhurried life, which is about slowing down, appreciating the moment, and not getting swept up in the rush. And of course, be optimistic. A positive outlook goes a long way.
These principles sound so simple,
They do.
but they're probably more profound than we realize. It's like they've cracked the code to living longer and happier. And it's not about fancy diets or expensive gyms.
Right. They remind us that longevity isn't just about genetics. It's about lifestyle choices and a way of thinking that prioritizes well-being and connection. It's a reminder that we have more control over our health and happiness than we think.
It makes you wonder how much of this we can adopt into our own lives. I mean, we might not live on a beautiful island, but could we still benefit from their wisdom?
That's the exciting part. While we can't exactly replicate their environment, we can, absolutely. draw inspiration from their wisdom, and adapt these principles to fit our own lives. It's about finding what resonates with you and integrating it in a way that feels authentic.
Okay, let's get practical. The book also talks about the anti-cancer diet. What's their secret to? Staying healthy and preventing diseases. What do they eat? Or better yet, what don't they eat?
The interesting thing is, they don't have some strict list of forbidden foods. They focus on creating redundancies, meaning having backup plans and options, especially when it comes to their food. They believe in diversifying their food intake and not relying too heavily on any single food group.
So it's like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Right. Spread the risk, get a variety of nutrients. Does the book actually say what those backup foods are? I'm super curious about what they eat on a daily basis.
It does, and it connects back to that idea of IKIGAI in a fascinating way. Their diet emphasizes fresh, local ingredients with a strong focus on vegetables, seafood, and grains. They practice something called hara hachibu, which means eating until you're 80% full, preventing overeating. And guess what? Many of their traditional dishes, like goya chanpuru, a stir-fry with bitter melon, tofu, and vegetables, actually align with what modern research suggests. For cancer prevention,
So they've been unknowingly following an anti-cancer diet all along. Based on their cultural traditions and what's available to them locally, it's not some fad diet, it's a way of eating that's been passed down through generations.
precisely. And this concept of redundancies extends beyond diet, too. They apply it to other areas of life, encouraging a mix of caution and calculated risk-taking.
Now, that's intriguing. How does that work? How do they balance playing it safe with taking risks?
They believe in being conservative in certain areas of life, like finances or personal safety, while embracing calculated risks in areas like pursuing new experiences or following their passions. It's about assessing the potential downsides while still being open to new opportunities.
So they're not reckless, but they're not afraid to step outside their comfort zone either. It's about having a healthy balance, right?
Exactly. They've found a way to live life to the fullest, while still being mindful of the potential consequences.
I'm already getting so much out of this. It's amazing how exploring different cultures can open your eyes to new ways of thinking and living. Speaking of new ways of thinking, the book also has a lot of broader life lessons that go beyond diet and lifestyle, right?
Absolutely. Ikigai is filled with insightful quotes and stories that offer valuable perspectives on happiness, resilience, and what it really means to live a life that matters. It's like getting a glimpse into the minds of these centenarians who seem to have mastered the art of living.
That's what I love about this deep dive. We're going beyond the surface and getting some real wisdom here. Let's delve into those life lessons. What kind of gems does Ikigai have in store for us?
Well, let's start with a quote that really resonated with me. It comes from one of the Okinawan elders. Eat and sleep, and you'll live a long time. You have to learn to relax.
There's a beautiful simplicity to that, isn't there?
It really does.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is how that quote underscores the importance of our basic needs and the often overlooked art of relaxation. In our modern world, busyness and productivity are almost like badges of honor. We forget how restorative rest and simple pleasures can be.
It's so true. It's like we're constantly bombarded with messages to do more, be more, achieve more. But the Okinawans, they've figured out that a fulfilling life isn't about constant striving. It's about embracing stillness and just being.
Exactly. And it's not just about rest. Another quote that really struck me was, "Everything's fine." It points to a mindset of acceptance, finding peace in the midst of all the inevitable ups and downs that life throws at us.
Everything's fine. Wow. In a way, that's a radical idea, isn't it? It's like a reminder that we don't always have to fix things or be in control. Sometimes just accepting what is can bring a sense of calm and perspective. But is that really how the Okinawans approach things, even when faced with difficulties?
According to the book, yes. They see challenges as a natural part of life and don't dwell on them. Their focus is on finding solutions, adapting and moving forward with a positive attitude. It's about resilience, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's like they've developed this inner strength that helps them weather any storm. I'm starting to see a pattern here. A lot of the Okinawan wisdom seems to be about finding balance. Balance between activity and rest striving and acceptance work and leisure.
You're spot on. Their approach to life is holistic. They recognize that well-being encompasses not just our physical health, but our mental, emotional, and social well-being too.
And their principles reflect that, don't they? Nurturing friendships, living an unhurried life, and being optimistic. It's all about creating a life that nourishes you on every level.
Precisely. And they don't just talk about these principles, they weave them into the fabric of their daily lives. Their routines and cultural practices are designed to support this balanced way of being.
This is making me rethink my own priorities, I have to
Yeah.
say. Maybe I need to schedule some don't worry time into my calendar or prioritize those daily walks with friends a little more.
It's all about finding what works for you and making small, sustainable changes that are aligned with those Okinawan principles. It doesn't have to be a complete life overhaul, but a gradual shift in perspective and habits.
It's about making choices that bring you closer to your ikigai, that reason for being.
Exactly. It's a journey of self-discovery and a lifelong practice of aligning your actions with what truly matters to you.
Speaking of lifelong practices, I remember another quote from the book that caught my attention. If you keep your mind and body busy, you'll be around a long time. But doesn't that seem to contradict the don't worry and live an unhurried life principles?
That's an interesting observation. It highlights the importance of finding that dynamic balance between rest and activity. Staying mentally and physically engaged is undoubtedly important for longevity, but it's not about pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion. It's about finding activities that challenge you, bring you joy, and allow for ample rest and recovery.
So it's about being busy in a way that feels fulfilling and sustainable. It's not about just filling up your schedule, but filling it with things that matter.
Precisely. Think about the Okinawans and their active lifestyles. They engage in gardening community activities,
Mhm.
traditional dances, things that provide physical and social stimulation and keep them connected to their community and purpose.
It's a reminder that movement and activity don't have to be a chore. They can be a joyful expression of our ikigai and a way to connect with others and the world around us.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to weave movement and meaningful activities into the tapestry of your daily life, rather than treating them as separate, isolated tasks to check off a list.
So we've talked about lifestyle diet mindset. What about their outlook on life and death? We've all heard stories about how some cultures embrace aging and even death in a way that seems more peaceful than what we're used to. Is there any mention of that in the book?
There is, and it's captured in this very simple but powerful quote, "I just haven't died yet."
I just haven't died yet. It sounds almost flippant, but there's a deeper meaning there, isn't there?
Absolutely. It reflects an acceptance of life's impermanence and a focus on living fully in the present moment. They don't dwell on the past or fear the future. They simply embrace each day as a gift.
It's a profound thought, isn't it? To live without the weight of regret or anxiety about what might be.
It is, and it reminds us that life is a precious and fleeting experience.
Ah.
By letting go of unnecessary worries and focusing on the present moment, we can truly savor the richness of life and cultivate a deep sense of gratitude.
I'm sensing a theme of mindfulness and presence here, something that seems to permeate the Okinawan way of life. Is that explicitly discussed in the book?
It is. Mindfulness is ingrained in their daily routines, from their traditional tea ceremonies to their practice of gardening. They find joy and purpose in simple activities, engaging fully with their senses, and appreciating the beauty in the ordinary.
This is a powerful message for us, isn't it? We don't need grand adventures or extraordinary circumstances to experience joy and fulfillment. It's about cultivating an awareness of the present moment and finding meaning in the everyday.
Exactly. And this mindful approach extends to their relationships as well. They value connection and community, taking time to nurture their friendships and support each other through life's challenges.
It's like their ikigai, their reason for being, is intertwined with their social connections and their sense of belonging within their community.
Absolutely. Their strong social bonds provide a sense of purpose, support, and love, which are essential ingredients for a long and fulfilling life.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not meant to go through life alone. We thrive when we have meaningful connections and a sense of belonging. So much of what we've been talking about seems so different from how many of us live today. Do you think it's truly possible to embrace these principles in our fast-paced, modern world? Can we find our ikigai amidst all the hustle and bustle of daily life?
That's the question, isn't it? While we might not be able to replicate the Okinawan lifestyle exactly, we can certainly draw inspiration from their wisdom and adapt their principles to our own circumstances.
So it's not about achieving some unattainable ideal. It's about making small, conscious choices that bring us closer to that sense of purpose and well-being that the Okinawans embody. It's about finding our own unique path to Ikigai.
Exactly. It's about weaving that reason for being into the fabric of our lives.
Before we started this deep dive, I have to admit I was a bit skeptical. It's easy to dismiss these concepts as being too simplistic or idealistic, but I'm really feeling inspired now to take a good look at my own life and see where I can incorporate some of these Okinawan principles.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's not about some rigid formula or a set of rules to follow. It's about finding what resonates with you and making small but meaningful changes.
It really is amazing how these seemingly simple principles can have such a profound impact on our well-being.
That's the beauty of it. They're not complicated formulas or strict rules. It's about cultivating a way of life that prioritizes joy, connection, and a sense of purpose.
It makes you wonder if we've overcomplicated things in our pursuit of happiness and longevity.
It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of external achievements and material possessions. We often neglect those simple yet profound things that truly contribute to a fulfilling life.
This deep dive has definitely given me a fresh perspective. It's not about adding more to our already busy lives. It's about stripping away the unnecessary and focusing on what truly matters.
Exactly. It's about creating space for joy, connection, and those activities that make us feel truly alive.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Ikigai and the Okinawan way of life, what's the key takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
I hope they'll be inspired to reflect on their own ikigai, their own reason for being. It doesn't have to be a grand, life-altering mission. It could be as simple as finding joy in a hobby, connecting with loved ones, or contributing to their community in a meaningful way.
It's about finding those things that spark our passion and give us a sense of purpose no matter how big or small.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. It's about making small, conscious choices each day that align with our values and bring us closer to that sense of ikigai.
Well said. This has been a truly enlightening deep dive. I know I'm walking away with a renewed sense of inspiration and a handful of practical tips I can incorporate into my own life.
Me too. It's a reminder that the secrets to a long and fulfilling life aren't necessarily hidden in some far-off land. They're often right in front of us, waiting to be discovered in the everyday moments and simple pleasures.
So, dear listeners, as you go about your day, we invite you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what brings you joy? What are you good at? How can you contribute to the world in a way that feels meaningful to you?
Those are the questions that can guide you on your own journey to discovering your ikigai and creating a life that is both purposeful and fulfilling.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Ikigai and the Okinawan way of life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.